Hi guys, Liberal Conservative here, back again with another video. So today I want to talk about someone I've been seeing everywhere lately, and honestly something about it feels off. Let's talk about Myron Gaines. If you've been online for the past few years, you probably know Myron as one half of the Fresh and Fit podcast, a show that blew up in the Manosphere by pushing extremely controversial takes on dating, masculinity, women, and relationships. That's how most people were introduced to Myron. Not as a political thinker, not as a serious commentator, but as a guy telling men that women are disposable, that American women are broken, and that men should travel overseas to find what he calls more submissive partners, which helped popularize the whole Passport Bros movement. And let's be real, that content wasn't just edgy. It was consistently misogynistic, often degrading, and at times blatantly inflammatory. Fresh and Fit faced multiple bans, strikes, demonetization issues across platforms like YouTube and Twitch over the years due to policy violations, harassment concerns, and repeated controversies. That part isn't speculation, it's public record. Myron himself became known as the more aggressive half of the Fresh and Fit podcast. He was the one who didn't soften language, he didn't walk things back, and often doubled down when criticized. Myron has been called out repeatedly for racist and demeaning remarks, especially toward Black women, and for language that many people felt crossed the line from provocative into outright dehumanizing. And that criticism didn't just come from liberals, no, it also came from across the political spectrum, liberals, conservatives alike. Now here's where things get interesting. Over the past year or so, Myron's content has clearly shifted. We're seeing fewer Fresh and Fit clips and more solo Myron content. More videos about true crime, policing, social decay, and politics. We're seeing Myron take a more serious tone. He's making more media appearances, and suddenly he's popping up in conservative political spaces. And this shift didn't happen in isolation. No. Myron hasn't just been making political content on his own channel. He's been actively moving through very specific right-wing and culture war ecosystems. Recently, he appeared in a high-profile conversation with Candace Owens, and not long after, she invited him onto her own platform as well. That kind of cross-promotion matters because it signals a level of acceptance, or at least tolerance, from more mainstream conservative media figures who typically claim to care about character, accountability, and past conduct. Over the past year, he's appeared on and interacted with figures like Sneako, Adin and Andrew Tate, personalities who sit at the crossroads of Manosphere culture and right-leaning political commentary. Yes, he was friends with them before, but now it's sort of in a more serious conversational political tone when he meets with them. It's not just female discussion centered or women are trash centered. It's more political leaning conversations with them. These aren't random collaborations. These are overlapping audiences that already respond to grievance politics, gender resentment, and anti-establishment narratives. Myron has also been publicly associated, or at least adjacent, to more overtly political figures like Fuentes, whose brand is rooted in far-right ideology. Even if Myron tends to keep that association at arm's length, we all still see it. Then there's his sudden interest in proximity to Turning Point USA aligned spaces, especially when he showed up around TPUSA's Amfest. What's telling is that despite clearly wanting access to those mainstream conservative rooms, he reportedly wasn't even allowed inside, which kind of says everything about how even parts of the conservative movement still view him. At the same time, Myron has been noticeably softening his presentation. He's no longer aggressive or trying to rage bait or be intentionally offensive anymore. Now there's fewer dating panels, there's fewer chaotic Fresh and Fit moments, more law and order, crime is out of control, society is collapsing type of commentary. That's what he's focused on now. He leans heavily on his former federal law enforcement background to give that content credibility, positioning himself not as a shock joke anymore, but as a serious voice on crime, masculinity, and politics. And the thing is, when you zoom out, it stops looking like a coincidence and starts looking like a calculated repositioning, embedding himself in conservative media spaces while quietly distancing himself from the fresh and fit image that made him famous, but also toxic. And I think that's exactly why this pivot makes sense strategically, because former law enforcement carries authority, carries respect. It sounds credible. It opens doors. True crime, policing, and conservative politics are far more advertiser-friendly and socially acceptable than Manosphere dating rage content. So when you see Myron talking about crime, masculinity in society, or political decay, it's not random. It's positioning. It is positioning. I mean, his PR is working overtime to shift his image. And here's the issue with that. A lot of conservative commentators seem willing to look past his history because he now aligns with them rhetorically. I mean, people like Candace, Owens, Fuentes, and others in that broader media ecosystem often talk about accountability, morality, and social decay. But when it comes to someone like Myron, those standards suddenly get flexible. And that's what feels off. Because Myron didn't just have bad takes. No. He built a massive platform on those takes. He profited from them. And when the consequences came, that was bans, backlash, reputational damage, the solution wasn't reflection. No, not at all. I mean, what did we expect? No. His solution wasn't reflection, it was rebranding. And instead of fully owning that past, what we're watching looks a lot like a gradual rebrand. It's not a clean break, not accountability, but a slow pivot. This isn't unique to Myron, by the way. We've seen this playbook before. We've seen this many times. A controversial internet figure hits a ceiling. The content becomes radioactive, so they pivot to politics, where outrage is monetized and memory is short. The problem is, politics isn't just another niche. No, it's not. When people with a documented history of dehumanizing rhetoric are suddenly treated as serious commentators, it lowers the bar for everyone, and it erodes trust. It erodes trust in political discourse as a whole. Now, let me make this clear. I am in no way saying people don't have the right to change. No, you're allowed to change. You're allowed to evolve, but growth requires ownership, not just a new camera angle. And I think that's the real question with Myron Gaines right now. Is this genuine evolution, or is it a calculated shift because the old grift stopped paying? I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you to notice the pattern. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Myron Gaines. I'm curious what you think. Do you see this as a real growth, or just a rebrand like I do? And why do you think so many political commentators are willing to overlook his past? Maybe except TPUSA. Let's keep the discussion respectful, no personal attacks. Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video interesting, please like it, subscribe, and share it so more people can find the conversation. I'll see you in the next one.